request her to kindly share her opening address. Good morning, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the inauguration of the 6th edition of the International Conference on Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Sector, India Pharma 2021 and India Medical Devices 2021. We are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, and this event is being organized in the virtual mode. But let me assure you that although we can see each other only on the screen, industry and all our stakeholders are always present in our thoughts and in our hearts. We are extremely encouraged and thankful for your participation. We are honored and privileged indeed to have Honorable Union Minister, Chemical and Fertilizer, and father of our family in pharmaceuticals, Shri D.V. Dev Sadanand Gowda ji, Honorable Union Minister for Commerce and Industries and Railways, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, who has joined us by the virtual link, and Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge for the Ministry of Shipping, and Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Shri Mansukh Mandavia ji, who are all present with us here today. Sirs, we appreciate your time, your gracious presence, and look forward to your words of wisdom and guidance. I take this opportunity to also acknowledge our partners FICCI, Shri Dilip Chenoy, and Invest India, Shri Deepak Bagla, who have toiled for this event through their teams, and all friends from the media who always highlight the efforts of the pharma and medical devices sector. It is also a great matter of honor to have our participants, industry speakers, Shri Pankaj Bhai Patel, Shri Shravan Subramaniam, participants from sister departments, regulators, state governments, industry experts. Thank you for your collaborative support, your encouragement. As all of you know, the strength of Indian pharmaceuticals and Indian medical device industries was very well displayed in the last 1 year in supplying critical drugs and medical devices without disruption across the length and breadth of India and to more than 120 countries at a time of urgent human need. We witnessed not only the capabilities, but also the commitment of industry to stand up and be counted when it mattered. Life is not all about business. Let me recall in brief at the beginning of today's session the industry status as of date. As all of us know, the Indian pharmaceutical industry continues to be the third largest globally in terms of volume. It has the highest number of USD FDA approved plants outside the US. It produces over 60,000 generics, exports to 200 odd countries, creates a trade surplus of over 11 billion annually for India. Indian pharma is poised to leverage its key role in the global supply chain for generics and transform into a more diversified and innovation-driven industry. I hope that will be the theme for the deliberations in the days ahead. The multidisciplinary medical device industry is also known as a sunrise sector. Its potential has been recognized. Though it has a current market size of USD 11 billion and about 85% dependence in the high end on imports, we believe that this is indeed an opportunity to build a stronger domestic capacity. The Department of Pharmaceuticals, under the guidance of our honorable leadership, has therefore been working to ensure a stable, long-term policy environment to facilitate the transformation of these sectors. We plan to soon release draft policies for stakeholder consultation. The interest of the patient, sustainable growth of the sector, and the goal of affordable and universal healthcare will remain at the center of all our efforts. In addition to the new schemes that have been introduced, I would like to mention that in close partnership with the DPIIT under the Minister of Commerce and Industry, who is with us here today, we are very happy to acknowledge the cabinet approval that we received yesterday for the PLI scheme for pharmaceuticals with an unprecedented outlay of rupees 15,000 crore. We believe that this will be a game changer in transforming our industry. We believe that we are at a juncture where enhanced cooperation between industry and policymakers will help us to achieve the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat in its truest sense of making in India and making for the world. And events like what we have here today will be instrumental in making that happen. Sirs, the sector also witnessed a substantial increase in investments in 2019-20 despite global slowdown. And therefore, in the 6th edition of our flagship event, we have ventured to add an investment summit with the active support of Invest India to bring together investors, global, domestic and institutional. I also wish to share that today evening, the International Drug Regulators Meet is being organized, which will have participation from the US, the UK, the European Union, Australia, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates. There will also be sessions on 1st and 2nd March on manufacturing capabilities, R&D, innovation ecosystem, healthcare delivery, market access, next frontiers in pharma, digital healthcare and medical devices being some of the key topics. We look forward to very meaningful deliberations, and the key outcomes of these deliberations will help us in government to understand the issues and make sustainable solutions possible for taking the industry forward. I'm thankful to all members of the pharma and medical device industry, domestic, foreign, large and small, learned speakers from India and abroad, officials of FICCI and Invest India who have contributed and will contribute to this year's event. My dear friends, the year 2020 will be remembered by posterity. The lives of individuals, families, countries, the manner of doing business, all have changed, perhaps irreversibly. All of us have experienced it. The centrality of good health to a vibrant economy and a happy society has been highlighted in a memorable manner. The year 2021 is, however, a year of promise, and I am confident that through this flagship event, with the guidance and wisdom of our ministers and our industry, we can make this promise come true. Thank you so much, and I wish you all very fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your presence here today and for setting the tone to this very topical discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have already witnessed, the event is being held virtually as well. So now we have to present the Pharmaceutical Industry Address, Shri Pankaj Patel, Mentor, FICCI Pharma Committee and Chairman and Managing Director, Zydus Cadila, will be joining us virtually. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. Sadanand Gowda ji, Piyush Goyal ji, Mansukh Madavia ji, Madam S. Aparna, Srimati Subhra Singh, invited guests, captains of the industry, award winners, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to be party to yet another edition of Indian Pharma 2021. This event has actually become a very, very important event for all of us. Fact remaining that this continuous holding of event gives a great opportunity to put forward issues and challenges the sector faces and work with the government to find an appropriate solution. I still remember at one of the earlier conferences like this, about several years back, I had raised an issue that our dependence on API and intermediate is a challenge for us, and we must do something about it. I'm happy that yesterday the government has announced a very important scheme on PLI, which is the real example of the creative and constructive discussion which happens between industry and the government during these meetings. Sometimes we have raised issues which may not be correct or may not be liked by some people, but it becomes a very important thing to actually point out the reality and the picture so that we all can start thinking how to mitigate any challenges which the industry faces. I want to put on record our sincere appreciation to the whole government of India and the state governments for the kind of support which has lent to pharma industry during the last year, during the pandemic time. We were exempted from the lockdown, which helped us to actually run our factories and supply products. Whenever we had an issue, there was a hotline available with the senior most people in the government of India, in our ministry, in the cabinet secretary office, in the home minister's office, and even the state governments. And as a result, in spite of challenges, we could manage to continue production and supply medicine. And it's a very satisfying feeling that not only that we could prove that India has the might and the ability of supplying quality medicine to the global market, but also even in crisis we can do that. I would like to just basically take you back to a report which we had presented saying that there is a potential that this industry can go to 80 to 90 million dollars if we grow at a normal rate. But with efforts which has been put in, it is possible that we can go to 120 to 130 billion dollar industry. And I think that is, to achieve that, there are a few important things which we must apply mind and do it. I think some of the actions are already taken and very important PLI scheme has come in. But also the Swasthya Bharat mission and higher allocation to healthcare itself also would provide additional opportunity for growth. So increased spending of government on healthcare is also going to help us to actually further growth in our industry. I think investment is a very important part, and encouraging investment would be required, and I think that's where we need a policy which is clear, coherent, and definite, and not much tingling with the policy very often. That's going to be very important because that would ensure sustainable growth for the industry. I think as we are moving towards the next wave of our growth journey, innovation is going to become a very important. I'm happy that with the help of the ministry, we all have worked together to create a kind of a position paper on what can be done to encourage and support innovation in India. It was a multi-stakeholder consultation which occurred between different government lab states, different secretaries in the different departments, all the people involved in academics, and as a result of that, a very clear report has emerged which can actually help us to take forward the agenda for innovation. We already have proven that India can do innovation. India can produce novel vaccine, which itself gives an example of that. The other thing is upskilling the people talent would be an important part. And a lot of actions have been taken and more are happening. And I'm sure with more NIPERS opening up and working, this would also be providing necessary inputs to that. I think one of the important part will be getting our regulatory system to the global level, and becoming a PICS member will become a very, very important part going forward. Because if we want to become the world supplier on a consistent basis, becoming a PICS member, an Indian regulatory system would be in line with any global regulatory system, would also help. I'm not saying that our regulatory system is weak, but by becoming a PICS member, it is a certificate which we receive. What sir, I would like to add here is basically put forward few things which we should also apply mind if we want to see this growth journey to continue. The first thing is that, sir, the export incentives have gone away. But in that place, a new incentive, new tax refund scheme of road tax is going to be detailed submission about the roadmap thing, and I think government should look at what can be done to actually provide refund of taxes paid on our export inputs. The second point, sir, is that the API and pharmaceutical industry faces a lot of challenges with the pollution control board. We believe in a healthy environment and a pollution control system, but I think expedited approval and removal of unwanted hindrance in approvals would actually help to grow the API and intermediate industry very, very fast. The third is that there are certain areas of policy where the pricing mechanism, the support to innovation, etc., requires a rethinking, and a lot of things have been discussed, a lot of reports have been generated, and I would wish that at the earliest we could find a solution to this problem. The regulatory system in India requires further liberalization, particularly for approval of the drug. During the pandemic time, the CDSO office has done a tremendously good job to provide support. But I think that should become now next normal, and that is the way it should function. And also at the same time, multiple agencies controlling pharma development should be done away with. It should be with one ministry, with one agency, and that is way to go forward. There are a number of reports which have been prepared by our ministry, by Ministry of Health, and also the principal scientific advisor to Government of India about simplification of the regulatory system. And I would request that at the earliest it should be put into action. There are many other things, sir, I can keep on enumerating, but I think the biggest, I want to thank you for the kind of proactively working with us to make sure that whatever challenges we face, we know that our government is with us. I once again thank all of you for the kind support and help you provided during the pandemic time, and we commit to provide all the support to government in the endeavor to win over the COVID infection. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Shri Pankaj Patel joining us virtually to share the pharmaceutical industry address. And now joining us virtually once again is Dr. Shravan Subramaniam to present the medical device industry address. He is the co-chairman, Medical Devices Committee FICCI, and President and CEO, GE Healthcare South Asia. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Ministers, Mr. Gowda ji, Shri Goyal ji, Shri Mandaviya ji, Secretaries, dignitaries on the dais, FICCI colleagues and the Secretariat, industry colleagues and friends, good morning. It's truly an honor to speak to you on behalf of the FICCI Medical Device Committee. The Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, particularly in the backdrop of COVID-19, has really brought into focus the high dependency of medical devices, including imports. The new schemes such as production-linked investment, the development of medtech parks, etc., stand as the positive steps towards making India self-reliant in this sector. There is an opportunity here, given the visibility to this sector, to continue to develop and evolve the policy and regulatory regimes in this sector towards faster growth and investments in this sector. We did have an opportunity to attract manufacturing units over the pandemic period, but we could do more and we must do more to attract the attention of companies and investments that went towards some other countries such as Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, China, etc. We have done a lot and we can and should do more. We are delighted to note that in the budget of 2021, the government has provided the requisite focus to help build a stronger public health system, along with appropriate support to the existing private healthcare infrastructure to create a comprehensive healthcare ecosystem. The announcement of the PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana with an outlay of 64,000 crores over 6 years substantiates this vision of the Prime Minister and his government, and we are happy to note that of this, over 14,000 crores has been earmarked for pharma and medtech infrastructure development. The composition of medical devices is a combination of simple and complex mechanical and electromechanical and IT products, and inherently thrives on continuous incremental innovations. Historically, this has been put under the ambit of pharmaceuticals through the Drug and Cosmetic Act, which is essentially a chemical composition, and the government's initiation to segregate medical devices from pharma through the Medical Devices Rules of 2017, 18, and 20, bringing all the devices under the regulation, is highly appreciated by the industry. We thank you for that. Historically, in India, the private sector has stepped in to bridge the supply-demand gap in healthcare as well as education. And as FICCI MedTech Committee representative, I can assure the government of our commitment to partner in this massive endeavor to achieve the universal healthcare goals and make India self-reliant in medtech manufacturing. The first step towards this is to build mutual trust and develop innovative partnership models that can address our needs and challenges. Integrated digital technologies and tools can bring in the needed transparency and accountability. While we move towards becoming a manufacturing hub, we need to be mindful that we as a country will not have the capacity or capability to manufacture each and every device or components. Thus, while we increase our exports, imports of certain devices and components could be critical for the ecosystem, and globally that is the norm with exporting countries like US, Japan, Germany, China, etc., where they do have substantial imports too. For development of patient-centric healthcare, on behalf of FICCI and the Medical Device Forum, I would like to submit a few recommendations for this August gathering. Number one, we are developing a 5 to 25-year vision roadmap on Make in India, Innovate in India, with focused policy interventions to stimulate medical device innovations. FICCI has presented over the years and will continue to present to the government a clear roadmap to gradually move from simple assembly and simple electromechanical to complex high-end medical technology manufacturing with necessary IT support over a period of 0 to 25 years. Second, predictability of regulations is extremely critical for making long-term investment plans for companies in any sector. Hence, our ask is to stabilize the regulatory system by removing redundant and multiple duplication of compliance burdens and focus on quality assurance, which is globally harmonized. Public procurement should be focused on clinical value and outcomes to the patient, designed to align with the domestic production capacity and local content in different product categories, and there must be adequate time for industry consultation before finalizing the medical device bill of 2019. Third, continue to facilitate ease of doing business in India through predictability and consistency in policy making, timely payment of government dues to hospitals, which has a trickle-down effect on medtech companies, and rationalize GST to 5% across all segments of medical devices, and withdrawing the term ad valorem from health cess, which will enable the health cess to be applicable only to basic customs duty. The impact on the cost on life-saving critical mass of devices will be significantly reduced. And we hope to continue export incentives to all export-oriented units and SEZ through schemes like GOTCAP. Fourth, allow medical device pricing to cater to different patient-paying segments, periodically rebalancing Ayushman Bharat pricing on right cost and quality of outcomes, repeat procedure equations in a transparent manner in the best interest of patients, and also allow differential pricing for generation of devices to cater to different segments of patients. For example, insurance patients, private out-of-pocket patients, and patients bringing in valuable foreign exchange for medical tourism. To enable this, there is a need for increase in public spend, increased penetration of social and private health insurance, adoption of evidence-based standard treatment guidelines, and so on. Last but not least, focus on creating an ecosystem for research, innovation, leading to therapy development, along with a focus on manufacturing. To make India Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, the concerns of the industry are indeed being monitored and addressed. And on behalf of the FICCI Medical Device Forum, I sincerely like to extend my thanks and gratitude to the government for patiently listening and partnering closely with us. The past few years of medical devices sector in India has been turbulent, and with this turbulence comes opportunity. And there is a need for streamlining and strengthening the building blocks, which has already been underway the last few years, and we would like to partner with you to continue that and fast track the implementation of pending regulations and policy reforms over the next 2 to 5 years. With that, thank you so much for your time. With gratitude from the FICCI Medical Devices Committee.
Thank you, Dr. Subramaniam. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst today Shri Mansukh Mandavia, the Honorable Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India. It gives me great pleasure to request the Honorable Minister, sir, to kindly address the august gathering. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome.
India Pharma and India Medical Device 2021 की 6th एडिशन के अवसर पर हमारे बीच उपस्थित केमिकल्स एवं फर्टिलाइजर विभाग के हमारे सीनियर मंत्री आदरणीय गौड़ा जी, आदरणीय पीयूष भाई, हमारे फार्मा सेक्रेटरी मैडम अपर्णा जी, बागला जी, सुब्रा जी, सभी उपस्थित फार्मा सेक्टर के सभी इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ जुड़े हुए भाइयों एवं बहनों, सबसे पहले तो मैं फार्मा सेक्टर के साथ जुड़े हुए लोग जिन्होंने कोविड क्राइसिस के दरमियान, नहीं केवल इंडिया में लेकिन सारे दुनिया में लॉकडाउन लगा था, ऐसी स्थिति में सरकार को सहयोग किया और सारे देश में 10,000 से ज्यादा एमएसएमई और बड़ी इंडस्ट्रीज लॉकडाउन के दरमियान शुरू रखी, देश की आवश्यकता को पूरी की और दुनिया के 120 कंट्री को मेडिसिन सप्लाई किया। उसके लिए मैं सभी फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज प्लेयर को अभिनंदन करता हूं। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में देश बदल भी रहा है और देश आगे भी बढ़ रहा है। जब सरकार सोचती है और जनता जुड़ती है तब देश बदलता है, लेकिन जब सरकार चलती है और इंडस्ट्री जुड़ती है तब देश आगे बढ़ता है। आज देश आगे बढ़ रहा है, देश में एक रिफॉर्म का पीरियड चल रहा है और खास करके फार्मा सेक्टर के लिए मोदी जी ने कोई विषय को टोकन में नहीं सोचा है। मोदी जी हमेशा टोटल में सोचते हैं। केवल टोकन में भाषण हो जाता है, फार्मा समिट भी हो जाती है, लेकिन आउटपुट नहीं निकलता है। ये आउटपुट तब निकलता है जब मोदी जी ने टोटल सोचना शुरू किया। फार्मा सेक्टर को आगे बढ़ाना है और इन्वेस्टमेंट लाना है तो कैसे लाए? इन्वेस्टमेंट लाने के लिए क्या दिक्कत है इंडिया में? ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में क्या है? 6 साल पहले जब मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री नहीं थे उस वक्त हम ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में 145 पर थे, आज वो 79 पर आ गए। और फार्मा सेक्टर का विषय तब तक हम ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में 63 पर है। ये रिफॉर्म हो रहा है, सरकार इनिशिएटिव ले रही है। क्या क्या दिक्कत है, क्या करने की आवश्यकता है, उसको देख देख के एक्शन लिया जा रहा है। इसलिए देश बदल रहा है, इसलिए फार्मा सेक्टर ग्रो कर रहा है। एपीआई के लिए हमें आत्मनिर्भर होना है तो क्या करना है? एपीआई इंडस्ट्रीज आए, वैसा हम आज कहे ऐसा नहीं, वो सालों से ऐसा ही भाषण होता है। मैं 5 साल से मंत्री हूं तो देखता हूं भाषण वही होता था। लेकिन क्यों देश में इन्वेस्टमेंट आने लगा? क्यों एपीआई सेक्टर में हम आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर आगे बढ़े? और इंडस्ट्रीज ने उसमें, मैं पीएलआई स्कीम 1 में देखा, इतना उत्साह से रुचि लिया। 2 to 8 एप्लीकेशन आई, सब लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया, क्योंकि एपीआई में हमें कंपटीशन। एपीआई हम नहीं बनाना जानते थे ऐसा नहीं, एपीआई हम बनाते भी थे और एक्सपोर्ट भी करते थे। लेकिन बीच का ऐसा जब ग्लोबलाइजेशन का समय आया, तब जब कंपटीशन ओपन हुई, ऐसी स्थिति में कई कंट्री ने बहुत सस्ते में इंडिया में एपीआई डंप करना शुरू किया और ये कंपटीशन में हम टिक नहीं पाए। तो उस वक्त ऐसा नहीं सोचा गया कि कंपटीशन में हम हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज को कैसे बचाएं। ये नहीं बचा पाए, इसलिए हम एपीआई में 53 ऐसे एपीआई थे जो हमारे देश में हमारी फॉर्मुलेशन इंडस्ट्रीज पर, जो नहीं आता तो हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज दिक्कत में आ जाती और हमें इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता था ज्यादातर। ये एपीआई को आइडेंटिफाई किया और उसके लिए पीएलआई 1 स्कीम 14,000 करोड़ रुपीस और पीएलआई 2 स्कीम काल ही कैबिनेट ने अप्रूव किया 15,000 करोड़। वो किसने किया है? क्या गैप है हमारे बीच में? फर्मेंटेशन बेस्ड एपीआई 20% दुनिया हमारे यहाँ डंप करती है कम रेट में, तो हम उसको 20% इंसेंटिव दे दें। आइए इंडिया में इंडस्ट्रीज लगाए, हम आपको कंपटीशन में टिक सके ऐसी व्यवस्था करें। उसमें से PLI 1, PLI 2 स्कीम निकली, नॉट ओनली फॉर इन फार्मा सेक्टर बट अदर सेक्टर्स एंड सो नंबर ऑफ टाइप ऑफ सेक्टर्स में PLI स्कीम लाके 2 लाख करोड़ रुपीस इस बजट समझने जैसा है। ये सब स्कीम का अनाउंस करके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करके हमने हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज को बूस्टअप किया है, तब जाके देश बदल सकता है, देश आगे बढ़ सकता है। ये देश में कभी ब्रेन पावर और मैन पावर की कमी थी ही नहीं, यहाँ सब कुछ पोटेंशियल है। सवाल है कि उसको चैनलाइज करना, जो मोदी जी आज के दिन में कर रहा है। ये देश है, जब कोविड क्राइसिस शुरू हुई तब हमारे यहाँ पीपीई किट बनाने वाले 20-22 लोग थे, आज 140 लोग हैं। बना देते हैं, बना सकते हैं। उसको प्रोत्साहन की आवश्यकता है, उसको मदद की आवश्यकता है। कोई उसको दिक्कत है रूल्स रेगुलेशन, तो उस कैसे स्मूथ चले उसके लिए उसको मदद करने की आवश्यकता है। वेंटिलेशन कितने लोग बनाते थे? 7-8 लोग बनाते थे, आज 37 लोग बना रहे हैं वेंटिलेटर। वैसे ही हमारे मास्क 95 मास्क इंडिया में बहुत कम लोग बना रहे थे, आज बहुत लोग बना रहे हैं। ये देश में क्षमता की कभी कमी नहीं थी और उसको चैनलाइज करना शुरू किया है। फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज में देख रहा हूं उसको एनकेस कर रहे हैं। मेडिकल डिवाइस, हम दुनिया की मार्केट की तो बात बाद में करें, इंडिया ही इतना बड़ा मार्केट है, 130 करोड़ की आबादी है, देश में मिडिल क्लास बढ़ रहा है। गवर्नमेंट हेल्थ को आज दिन तक, अब देखिए हिंदुस्तान में हेल्थ को कभी डेवलपमेंट के साथ जोड़ा ही नहीं। हेल्थ को डेवलपमेंट के साथ जोड़ना बहुत आवश्यक है, क्योंकि जिस देश के नागरिक स्वस्थ होते हैं, इस देश की सोसाइटी स्वस्थ होगी और स्वस्थ नागरिक स्वस्थ सोसाइटी का निर्माण करेगा और स्वस्थ सोसाइटी स्वस्थ और डेवलप्ड कंट्री का निर्माण करेगा। तो भारत को समृद्ध करना है तो भारत को स्वस्थ रहना आवश्यक है। तो आज तक डेवलपमेंट के साथ कभी हेल्थ को नहीं जोड़ा गया। आज हम लोग हमारे आयुष्मान भारत योजना को वैसे ही लेते हैं। दोस्तों, एक छोटी स्कीम नहीं है। मुझे पता है 5 साल 6 साल पहले ओबामा ने ओबामा केयर करके वहां 10 करोड़ अमेरिकन लोगों के लिए हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी स्कीम लाई थी और सारी दुनिया में वो डिक्लेयर हुई और ओबामा हेल्थ केयर करके वो पॉपुलर हुई। दोस्तों, 10 करोड़ लोगों के लिए नहीं है, 10 करोड़ फैमिली के लिए है। 10 करोड़ फैमिली मीन्स 50 करोड़ लोग, 50 करोड़ पीपल्स, 50 करोड़ पीपल जो अपने यहाँ, जिसके पास बड़ी कोई बीमारी आ गई तो उसके ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, ऑपरेशन के लिए आर्थिक व्यवस्था नहीं थी, ऐसे लोग उसको 5 लाख तक अपने घर में कोई बड़ी बीमारी आ जाए, ऑपरेशन की आवश्यकता हो तो सरकार के खर्चे से हो जाए। ये हिंदुस्तान जैसे देश में बहुत बड़ी बात है और दुनिया के लिए वो देखने जैसी बात है और उसका स्मूथली इंप्लीमेंटेशन हो रहा है। आज कोविड क्राइसिस में आप देखिए, हम दुनिया में सबसे बड़े वैक्सीनेशन अभियान चला रहे हैं। कल ही बहुत अच्छा अनाउंसमेंट कैबिनेट के माध्यम से वो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। देश में सरकारी अस्पताल में जाएंगे उसको फ्री वैक्सीन मिलेगी और बाकी के लोग हैं, बाकी 10,000 ऐसे हॉस्पिटल आइडेंटिफाई की गई और डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म के माध्यम से, ऐप के माध्यम से रजिस्ट्रेशन कराओ, अपॉइंटमेंट लो, और 60 ईयर से ज्यादा उम्र वाले जो 30 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन है, 45 से बड़ी एज है और कोमोर्बिडिटी है, ऐसे लोगों के लिए बड़ा वैक्सीनेशन अभियान चल रहा है। हमारा कल्चर, मोदी जी ने कहा कि हम लाभ शुभ के कल्चर के लोग हैं। हम अपने घर के द्वार पर लिखते हैं, लाभ भी लिखते हैं और शुभ भी लिखते हैं। लाभ मतलब हमारा कल्याण हो, वो तो होना चाहिए, लेकिन शुभ मतलब दूसरे का भी कल्याण होना चाहिए। इसलिए जब दुनिया के पास मेडिसिन नहीं थी और सभी लोगों ने रिक्वेस्ट किया मोदी जी को कि हमें मेडिसिन भेजिए, हिंदुस्तान ने NAC2 लेके 120 कंट्री को मेडिसिन सप्लाई की, इट्स वन थिंग। बट अभी वैक्सीनेशन का पीरियड आया तो हिंदुस्तान ने, यहाँ इंडियन हमारी ही कंपनी ने वैक्सीन का निर्माण किया हमारे पड़ोसी के साथ। पड़ोसी हमारे सबसे पहले रिश्तेदार होते हैं, ऐसा मान के उसको पहले वैक्सीन दिया, और कंट्री को भी वैक्सीन दे रहे हैं, और इंडिया में भी वैक्सीनेशन का बड़ा अभियान चला रहा है। मतलब दूसरे को भी सहयोग करना और हमारा भी ख्याल रखना, ये हमारी बेसिक हमारी फिलोसॉफी है और हमारी विरासत भी है, उसको आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। फार्मा सेक्टर मुझे लगता है कि अगले दिनों में जिस गति से आज तक आगे बढ़ता रहा उससे तेज गति से आगे बढ़ेगा। मेडिकल डिवाइस सेक्टर, उसमें उसको फोकस किया जा रहा है। मेडिकल डिवाइस सेक्टर में भी इन्वेस्टमेंट भी आएंगे, उसके लिए इकोसिस्टम भी PLI स्कीम के माध्यम से, मेडिकल डिवाइस पार्क के माध्यम से क्रिएट की है। उसका हमारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, हमारे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट उसका लाभ ले और आगे बढ़े। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्रीवर कि आज आप हमारे बीच यहाँ पधारे और अपने बहुमूल्य विचार हमारे साथ साझा किए। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Ladies and gentlemen, today we shall witness the release of a position paper on pharmaceuticals. FICCI has partnered with EY to prepare this position paper, and nearly 6 months were devoted to study all the aspects and involve all the stakeholders to bring forth this exhaustive and comprehensive position paper on pharmaceuticals. And I invite Mr. Sriram Srinivasan, partner, India Health Sector Lead, EY, to please join us on stage for the release of this position paper. May I request the Honorable Minister, sir, to please do us the honors. And now I request Mr. Sriram Srinivasan to kindly share a brief on this position paper.
Good morning, Shri Saranand Gauraji, Honorable Ministers Shri Piyush Goyal ji, Shri Mandavya ji, Dr. Narayan, and also Secretary Ms. Aparna, as well as Mr. Rudra Singh, and Captain of the Industry, Shri Pankaj Patel, Dr. Shravan Subramaniam, as well as the entire set of friends from FICCI, and also all the distinguished guests, panelists, and visitors and investors to this summit. A warm welcome to all. Sometime in the middle of last year, when right in the middle of this COVID crisis, and we were figuring out how to live in life with the lockdown, he approached us, he wanted to commission us for a thought leadership paper on what can we do in the Indian pharma industry. And we were very clear about one thing, that this should not be yet another COVID paper that just focuses on the immediate crises and what's happening in the industries. But what we wanted this to be is a more of a seminal paper where we rethink India's position in the global world. We relook at, can this be an opportunity for us to leapfrog the next 10 years, to see how we can actually change our global positioning, define our future ambition, and more importantly, identify a set of imperatives that for all key stakeholders, not just government, not just industry, but all key stakeholders to actually implement so that we're able to reach them. And with that in nature, we call this paper Future is Now. Because it's very easy to talk about a future which is distant, but it's very difficult to implement those 8 or 10 things that need to be done today to make that future real. I think that's the key area in terms of what we want to focus on. And from a position paper perspective, we actually did a deep and wide consultation. It was actually, I would say, a labor of love of multiple stakeholders. We had some 70 plus stakeholders and leaders across the industry. To give you some perspectives, people like leaders of global MNCs companies, Indian companies, government, pharmaceutical healthcare industry experts. We also looked at functional experts, that is, the people who are deep experts in R&D, in manufacturing supply chain, in pricing, in healthcare delivery. We also looked at experts in allied sectors like the private equity, venture capital firms, technology experts. And we did all of this through one-on-one interactions as well as roundtables. And we also made a point of complementing all of these primary insights with extensive secondary research. We leveraged our EY global research practice and we did an outreach. So it is important that whatever we are saying, we should not be reinventing the wheel as well. Are we taking enough lessons learned from outside? I mean, in this regard, I really want to thank the valuable guidance given by Sri Mandavia ji, where he urged that core team to analyze and form consensus around actionable and pertinent issues for the pharma sector. So that it is very critical for us to look at this ambition, but get that consensus across various stakeholders. And I think this direction is very useful. We also received valuable guidance from this Aparna, where we talked about identifying the challenges which are unique to India, but also build a roadmap of what those journey of reforms looks like. And she also urges to make sure we're bringing in enough global examples and case studies and benchmarks so that we can visualize what potential good solution looks like. So what's the outcome and outcome we're looking at next. So I think all of these are very valuable in terms of forming what finally became the paper that you're holding in your hands. To give you a quick summary of what this paper talks about. Very clearly, EY is supporting their industry ambition. Shri Pankaj Patel just recently referred to it, saying that our ambition is not to just be business as usual, but actually try and take a leapfrog target, a moonshot target as I'm referring to many places, to reach an industry size of $130 billion by 2030, from a $42 billion today in 2020. And that will require us to almost double the last decade's rate of growth. So it'd be very fair to say that this could be the differentiating recipe for pharma, for Indian pharma. And for us, 4 key actions are done. And that's something which is kind of deliberated upon. One is very important, accelerating research and innovation. That I think is the lifeblood of the industry. Second, especially given in a country like us with huge amount of varying access to healthcare, equitable and sustainable healthcare. Third, strengthening our entire manufacturing and supply base, because that's something which has been proven to be our mainstay of our industry and strength for us. As well as, most importantly, improving access to medicines. That the last person who's sick and needs healthcare gets it. I'll just give you a little bit of brief on each of these areas. I mean, R&D, we've established an excellent position as being a volume player, someone who supplies large volumes. In fact, we've been praised by a lot of people that our production manufacturing is the asset to the world. However, it's also important for us to kind of bridge the gap and also have a perception of being a large value player. Bring in a lot of innovation and do it the way we'd like to do in terms of bringing in affordable innovation. And for that, we need a very, very focused approach. Where we need to look at creating an enabling ecosystem, looking at financing the entire development life cycle, and building and enabling a policy and regulatory framework. 2 other areas that we always focused on is how we also use a lot of this telemedicine and telehealthcare to improve healthcare delivery and make that far more efficient. In fact, Mansukh Mandaviya ji actually even suggested that we should leverage this to create a unique and independent healthcare model tailored to the country's needs. I'll also touch upon a couple other things in terms of manufacturing and supply chain, where we really looked at how do we create and use our base to improve our affordable medicines, create self-sufficiency in APIs, as well as look at improving our quality perception. And last but not least, obviously look at market access, which is an area where we need to make sure that the overall efficiency of events such as Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, of also looking at alternatives to price controls and achieving affordability and access, all of these are actually being done. And it's important that we do this and understanding that this whole thing is interlinked. We can't just address one element without ignoring and by ignoring the others. I also want to thank all of your stakeholders who have given these contributions and inputs. And over the next few days, I hope we'll be having these series of panel discussions to collaborate, get aligned, and eventually chart out a plan of action, which will make this not just paper, but actually a set of action items that are implemented, and we're able to see that this becomes India's decade. Thank you.
Our thanks to EY for being a part of this endeavor. And ladies and gentlemen, it gives us great pleasure to welcome virtually Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Railways, Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. May I request the Honorable Minister, sir, to kindly deliver his address. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome